65 years before the blockbuster movie Top Gun was made, heralding the exploits of fighter pilots, a real-life Top Gun was born in Little Rock. November 7, 1922, Ernest Julian Ambort was born, and it seems as soon as he was able to walk, he wanted to fly. He graduated Catholic high school and immediately wanted to enter aviation cadet training, but that required 2 years of college, and the young Ambort needed to work odd jobs to help his widowed mother make ends meet. The determined Ambort did not give up. He enlisted in a government-controlled civilian pilot training course that allowed him into the aviation cadet training. Ambort then joined the U.S. Army Air Corps in September 1942. At the time, the war in Europe and the Pacific was raging. Like many young men in that time, his patriotism and his fighting spirit was boiling inside him. He was appointed second lieutenant on his first commissioned assignment to Marana Army Basic Flying School in Arizona. He instructed several classes and at his request was assigned to a fighter unit. He completed his training in the P-38 Lightning aircraft, his favorite.
One time we were vacationing in Louisiana, and he saw one out in a field, and he was so excited. He had to get out of the car and go out and look at it. He loved that plane.
He was assigned the 49th Flying Knights Fighter Group. The group had legendary officers like Dick Bong, Tom McGuire, and Gerald Johnson at the command. On arrival in the Philippines, Lieutenant Ambort saw action immediately. He proved his toughness and skill. He shot down his first enemy fighter in October 1944, and within just 37 days had destroyed 4 more enemy planes and became a fighter ace, a Top Gun, by December 1944. He was just 22 years old. He even served a time as wingman for Major Bong, the ace of aces, who is credited with 40 Japanese aircraft destroyed.
Well, in war, his favorite story was when he was able to save a ship, a hospital ship.
On one dramatic and daring mission, Ambort and his wingman spotted a Japanese dive bomber heading in full dive to bomb an American destroyer loaded with wounded soldiers. He was almost empty of ammunition and could not get a good angle on the bomber. Ambort and wingman Hammett decided to go full speed directly toward the bomber and risk their own lives to save the ship and its men. As they fast approached the bomber with their machine guns full firing, all their shells hit the target, and moments before impact, the Japanese bomber exploded. The ship was saved. On a turnaround to assess the situation, Ambort recalled seeing hundreds of men waving hats, crutches, and arms in a thankful cheer. They had been saved, and many of the men recounted the story into their senior years. Lieutenant Ambort always considered this his most thrilling and gratifying aerial victory.
I think that he was a wonderful pilot. He did a good job for our country during World War II.
After the liberation of the Philippines, the 49th Fighter Group and Lieutenant Ambort went on to Okinawa, Japan. The 49th was the first fighter group to land in Japan in August 1945 and were credited with downing 277 enemy aircraft. Shortly thereafter, the Japanese surrendered. Lieutenant Ambort served in New Guinea, Biak, Shelton Island, Leyte, Philippines, Okinawa, and Australia. Lieutenant Ambort closed his tour of duty with 368 combat hours and 132 missions and returned stateside to join the 154th Fighter Squadron of the Arkansas Air National Guard Reserves, but was reactivated during the Korean War, where he flew with the 6147th Tactical Control Group in Korea until 1952. He left active duty at the end of the Korean War. He retired after 20 years of service to his country on June 30th, 1966. His total combat success included 5 enemy aircraft certified destroyed, 3 probable destructions, 2 ground kills, and he sank 1 enemy transport ship in Ormoc Bay. Lieutenant Ambort was awarded 2 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 2 Oak Leaf Clusters, the Bronze Star, Presidential Unit Citation, Army Commendation, and the Korean Presidential Citation. Ernest Ambort died November 17, 1981. He was just 59. He's buried in Little Rock's National Cemetery. Military historians write that Ambort's skill and devotion to duty and his courage under fire served as an inspiration to his fellow flyers. His actions on all these occasions reflect the highest credit on himself, and it earns him his place in history and the Arkansas Aviation Hall of Fame.